Hey guys, welcome to Tech Hounds. Today we are reviewing the Samsung Galaxy S20 5G. Let's jump right in. First up, let's talk about design. Samsung is staying very familiar with their design. For this line, we've got the typical glass up front and a glass finish in back. It's very lightweight, surprisingly. Even though it is made out of aluminum and glass, it doesn't have that heavy feel in my pocket, which makes me want to use it more, and it just makes it more of a pleasure to use. I don't feel like I need to stretch my hand to get to the other side of the screen. This phone is in cosmic gray, which is a nice flat gray. It doesn't have that reflective prism look that Samsung phones have had in the past, although there are some models that still have that if you're looking for that effect. With this having glass both up front and in the back, your best bet is to get a case for this. On the sides, we have the standard aluminum finish, which makes it feel very premium. The speaker and the charging port are at the bottom. You'll see that at the bottom, they also got rid of the headphone jack, which a lot of users might find troublesome, but it's the trend that's happening across the industry. We're seeing that manufacturers are pushing Bluetooth headsets and earbuds, so that's just really the way that the industry's going. Up top we have another speaker and another mic and our SIM and micro SD tray. The phone is upgradable to 1 terabyte of memory with an additional SD card. This particular model has 128 gigabytes of memory. They shifted the buttons to the right side of the phone now, so on the right side you have your volume rocker buttons and your power button, which can be programmable. If you press and hold it, it can launch Bixby. I tend to find Bixby not as intuitive as Google Assistant, so I just disable Bixby all around. And speaking of Bixby, Samsung still preloads bloatware onto its phones. There tend to be double apps of everything, like double calculators, double calendars, double contacts, which I get that Samsung is trying to add to the Samsung One experience. At this point, I feel like they're just making double the apps, they're doing double the work, and taking up double the space, which I feel should be left up to the user to decide. And some of these apps, I will say, you cannot uninstall, which is a little frustrating. I really hope that in the next iteration of the Galaxy devices, they do make it optional to remove any of the pre-installed apps. The front-facing camera has moved over to the center, exactly like the Galaxy Note 10's Infinity O display. In fact, they are calling this an Infinity O display now, which is nice. It gives it a nicer look, and it just falls in line better with the Samsung line of devices. We have a 6.2-inch Super AMOLED display. It's still got that edge-to-edge feel and look to it, but it sort of flattens out at the edges. One of the standout features of the S20 is that it does have a 120 Hz refresh rate, which makes it super smooth. It makes scrolling and video transitions really smooth on the display. It's great for gaming, great for videos. The 120 Hz refresh rate does tend to hamper battery performance, so if you value your battery life and your battery performance over your display, you might want to change that to the default 60 Hz. 120 Hz does look better, does feel better, feels quicker and snappier, but again, it does sacrifice the battery quality, so that's something to keep in mind. The screen colors tend to be a little saturated out of the box. They do have a vivid color profile, which is the default. You could change it to the natural color profile, and that'll give it a more toned down, neutral look, which I think is truer to the colors. The phone does have the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which works very well. I found that it works after the first try pretty consistently, which is much better than previous generations. The phone does have facial recognition unlock, so you could use your face to unlock it. Out back, we do have a 3-camera setup. We have two 12 megapixel cameras. One is an ultra wide and one is a standard wide. We also have a 64 megapixel telephoto lens, which adds 30 times space zoom. Space zoom is one of the breakout features of the S20. It's a digital zoom that on this device goes up to 30 times. On the S20 5G Ultra, it goes up to 100 times. The cameras are great. You can switch between any of the three within the software, and they switch within a snap. The photos are sharp and crisp. They aren't very saturated, which was a common issue that Samsung cameras had in the past. Usually the colors were really vivid. We get 4K and 8K video. 8K is limited to 24 frames per second, and there is a cropped in effect because it uses the telephoto lens rather than the wide lens. So that's just something to keep in mind if you want to film 8K. I don't suspect many people will, because it's still very finicky, and it also takes up a lot of space. The video stabilization is very good on this device, especially when you're using the digital zoom, the 30 times space zoom. It comes in very handy if you're trying to keep your shot stable while still trying to get that really close zoom effect. The camera has a nice feature called single take, which captures 10 photos and 4 videos of a particular subject with the push of one button, which is a nice way to get a bunch of different styles and variations of a shot when you're in a pinch. It does have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, which does help when you're using the 120 Hz refresh rate. If you do find that your battery is draining on the quicker end, you can always switch back to the 60 Hz and it'll preserve battery. I've been using the 120 Hz refresh rate, and I've had no issues going all day with this phone. I average about 3 to 4 hours of screen on time, and I haven't found that this drops below 10%. So to me, the battery holds up pretty well. Some features that carry over are the wireless power share, which means that you can charge a compatible wireless charging device with your phone. It'll use up the S20's battery to charge the other device. Some of the nice built-in things that it comes with are a built-in screen recorder and the Galaxy wearable app. The S20 does support fast charging. It comes with a 25-watt charger out the box. I'd say that the top 3 features of the S20 5G are the inclusion of 5G, the 120 Hz refresh rate screen, and the updated and revised cameras. I think the S20 5G is the one to get because it is cheaper, but it still has a lot of features. It still packs 12 gigabytes of RAM. It has a powerful processor. I found no hiccups, no stuttering. I can't speak for the 5G just yet because I haven't had enough time to test it, but it is 5G capable on the low to mid-band frequencies. If you want a broader 5G radio, you need to upgrade to the S20 Ultra for that, but 5G is still very early in its development, so I don't recommend getting this phone just for 5G quite yet. The S20 Ultra to me doesn't justify its $1,400 and up price by just offering a larger display, more 5G radios, and a different camera sensor. If you really need your photos to stand out, go for it, but I think you won't be missing out with the S20. All right, so that does it. That's the Samsung S20 5G. Yes, it is the lower priced of the 3 Samsung S20 phones, but it is not limited in its capabilities or its hardware or software. I'm Abe Mahdi with Tech Hounds. Thanks for watching.